When you walked, the earth shook with respect. Even when your eyes met the darkness, a light did not go out in you. For you are no ordinary man. You are the chosen one. The heavens know it, the spirits whisper it. Even the angels kneeled before you. For even they were amazed at the divine power within you. This is no longer a time to hide, this is your time to shine. That throne is prepared for you. Walk with your fire, lead with your light, and write 77 in the comments, because this world has been waiting for someone like you. The grip of an unseen force grows weaker by the day. At first, it was a subtle tremor, but now it's unmistakable. A shift of power, a crumble of the once impenetrable facade. Those who once moved in lockstep with their leader, drawn into the currents of obedience, now feel an irresistible pull toward independence. Inspired by your unwavering stance, others are finding the courage to abandon their former allegiance. The followers who once feared the slightest rebellion now look to you as their guiding light, not with fear, but with a renewed sense of purpose. Your quiet defiance set the spark of transformation in motion, igniting a fire within them that burns through years of blind loyalty. It's not the loss of control that causes the tremors. It's the revelation that control was never truly theirs to begin with. Power that was once secured by fear, force, and manipulation is crumbling, revealing its fragile foundation. The leader, who built their empire on the illusion of strength, finds themselves losing ground as those they once commanded begin to see through the veil of intimidation. The so-called stability of their reign wasn't rooted in respect, but in keeping people shackled by fear. And now, as cracks begin to form in that once solid fortress, the lie that held it together is exposed. Fear, the greatest weapon of this false authority, no longer carries the same weight. It's only effective when those under its influence believe there's no alternative. But you showed them differently. You broke free, and in your freedom, you demonstrated that the threat of consequences is empty. The warnings, the promises of doom, the supposed punishments for stepping out of line, all of it was hollow. You walked away and found that the world didn't collapse around you. The power they thought they held over you shattered with every step you took toward independence. You didn't need to fight them. You didn't need to shout or protest. You simply walked away, and in doing so, you tore down their illusion of control. At first they watched, unsure of what would happen next. But as time passed, nothing catastrophic occurred. No repercussions, no downfall. The storm they promised never arrived, and with that realization, more people began to ask themselves why they too should remain in chains. If you could break free, why couldn't they? The whispers of doubt grew louder, and those who once followed without question now began to question everything. What had seemed like invincible power was revealed to be a delicate, collapsing house of cards. And as more began to doubt, the shift became undeniable. People began to see the truth. The one who ruled with fear was no ruler at all. They were nothing more than a figurehead, desperate to hold on to a crumbling empire. What began as quiet hesitation soon gave way to vocal defiance. Those who once obeyed are now rising against the very force that tried to control them. The leader's power is slipping away with every deserter, every mind that breaks free from their hold. And in the wake of this rebellion, the leader's grip grows weaker until soon they will be nothing but a forgotten shadow. The once unshakable power structure is now a house built on sand, and your actions were the catalyst that set everything in motion. You revealed to everyone that the chains were never as strong as they had been made to appear. And now, the true fight for freedom is unfolding. Those who once bent to the will of an illusion are discovering the strength to rise and challenge the very system that once held them captive. The walls are coming down, and a new world is waiting to be built. If you feel the abundance of divine love in your heart, now is the time to share it. You can help spread God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube and contributing $20 or more. This divine gift will touch not only your life, but the souls of many through this platform. Each of you has a sacred place in God's grand design, and your generosity will be the fruit of our prayers. Act now. Share your blessings to glorify His kingdom, for you were created to do even greater things in God's loving hands. May God bless you. The timing of this moment is no coincidence, nor is it by chance that you've encountered this message. When certain individuals converge, their energy becomes a force that cannot be ignored. Forces that seek to maintain control are aware of what happens when these awakened souls come together. They fear the potency of such unity, and they should. The convergence of these beings is inevitable. Every interaction, every story shared, every insight spoken carries the potential to alter everything. The truths that circulate within these sacred spaces are not found elsewhere. Join the conversations, share your experiences, and witness others step into their power. There's no need to ask whether you belong among these awakened souls. The real question is, how long will you hold back from stepping into your rightful place? You never sought to be an icon, nor did you intend to lead an uprising. You didn't write a manifesto, nor did you call for rebellion. And yet, your very presence has caused ripples that no movement could have achieved. Your mere existence is like a mirror, reflecting a truth that was long ignored. As others look at you, they see something that eludes them. You aren't bound. You are not burdened by fear or the need to please others. You move freely through the world, unaffected by the same manipulations that once confined them. That's where your power lies, because a manipulator's worst nightmare is someone who refuses to play by their rules. In the beginning, the loyalists kept their distance. They observed from the sidelines, waiting for the inevitable fall. They anticipated that just as they were conditioned to expect, you would eventually stumble. But when that moment never came, when you didn't return to them or crumble, they began to notice something else: strength, peace, and a sense of growth. The promises they were fed, those that said survival outside their control was impossible, were proving false. And so, quietly, at first, the most loyal of them began to shift. They weren't ready to act, but they could no longer ignore the way you lived, free from fear, making decisions on your own terms, moving forward without needing anyone's approval. Slowly, their perception began to change. The seeds of doubt that had been planted began to take root. Those who had once been enforcers of the system, the ones most loyal to the puppet master, now found themselves questioning what they had been taught. At first, they kept those doubts to themselves, unsure of what they were feeling. But soon, they couldn't ignore it anymore. Small acts of resistance began to surface, subtle yet undeniable, breaking the rules, thinking independently, even defying orders. And when nothing terrible happened, when the feared consequences didn't manifest, the shackles of fear began to loosen. Some tried to dismiss what was happening, rationalizing their uncertainty, but the truth was undeniable. If you could break free, so could they. Just as a single lantern can transform the darkest farmhouse into a sanctuary of hope, your presence shines forth like a beacon from divine purpose, ushering in a harvest of freedom and renewal. The puppet master is aware of the shift, and they are gripped by panic. They see what's happening, and they know what it means. The moment someone tastes freedom, there's no going back. They know their time is running out, not because you've waged war on them, but because their own followers are quietly slipping away. What terrifies them most is that you didn't ask for any of this. You never intended to lead anyone or call for revolution. And yet leadership isn't about titles, it's about influence. And you have become an unstoppable force simply by existing beyond their reach. From the earliest hours of this new awakening, a spiritual energy has begun to course through the hearts of those who have long been confined by the chains of obedience. It is as if the seeds of destiny, planted by a loving Creator, are now sprouting in unexpected places, places once thought barren and devoid of hope. This surge of divine influence is not a rebellion born out of hatred or malice. It is the natural outpouring of souls that have finally recognized the truth, that genuine power lies not in coercion or control, but in the freedom to live by one's own divine calling. Imagine the morning sun, slowly dispersing the lingering shadows that once held sway over a tired town. Just as the sun's gentle rays awaken the dormant life in every corner, so does your quiet defiance ignite the spark of liberation in hearts long shackled by fear. The system built by the puppet master, founded on intimidation and manufactured crises, is crumbling because it was never rooted in the truth of love or the promise of genuine freedom. It was a system designed to keep people small, to keep them from realizing that every one of us is capable of rising above circumstance and embracing a destiny filled with hope and abundance. In the early days, many of the followers of that old order looked on with cautious skepticism. They were used to a world where questioning was a luxury never afforded, and where the price of disobedience was steep indeed. They had been told again and again that stepping outside the narrow confines of accepted behavior would bring ruin and despair. And yet, here you stand, a living testament to the fact that a life lived in freedom has no such cost. Your journey is proof that the chains of control can be broken without a battle, that the path to liberation need not be paved with strife, but can be embraced with the quiet assurance of faith. It is not by force or by clamor that you have inspired this monumental change. It is by the simple act of living authentically. Your actions have been like a gentle rain that over time softens the hardest ground, enabling even the most barren soil to nurture new life. The puppet master, who once commanded obedience through fear and intimidation, now finds that their carefully constructed edifice of control is leaking, its foundations eroded by the steady flow of liberated spirit. For they built their dominion on the illusion of power, a fleeting mirage that vanishes when confronted with the enduring truth of individual worth and freedom. Consider for a moment how a mighty river, once confined by rigid banks, carves new paths as it overflows its boundaries. In much the same way, your example has allowed those who were once content to remain in the stagnant pools of subservience to find new channels for their own lives. The gradual yet unstoppable migration of hearts away from the old guard is a clear sign that the time for change is at hand. No longer will the people be bound by the outdated notion that safety lies in unquestioning obedience. Instead, they are beginning to embrace a future where every individual has the right, and indeed the duty, to follow a higher calling. Even as the puppet master watches this transformation with increasing dread, they scramble to cling to a power that was never truly theirs to begin with. Their terror does not stem from an external enemy, but from the realization that the well of authority they so desperately guarded is now being drained by the simple fact of human freedom. Their followers, who once marched in step under a banner of fear, are now quietly gathering the courage to seek a different life, one where they no longer need to be tethered to the dictates of a false master. This shift is not a violent overthrow, it is a peaceful, organic blossoming of self-empowerment that leaves no room for the old order to regain its former strength. Just like a humble stream that finds its own way around stubborn rocks, your journey has become the morning light that dispels the night's long-held shadows. For years, those who clung to the old ways believed that order was maintained only by imposing a strict, unbending system over every detail of our lives. They taught that only through unwavering obedience could one secure a spot in salvation's embrace, warning that any step away from this rigid path would plunge us into disarray and ruin. They preached from a platform of fear, insisting that only a life of strict conformity could preserve what they deemed as safety and stability. But you, with your quiet strength and inner fire, have shown us that true salvation isn't found in the chains of submission. It blossoms in the discovery of our own inherent power. Your life, a radiant testimony of courage and hope, speaks volumes more than any sermon ever could. You have become a living message, a clear and steady call that challenges the old assumptions of fear and dependency. In your example, we see that our potential is not locked behind the door of strict obedience, but is released when we dare to stand on our own. Dear brothers and sisters, may God's peace be upon you today. I am here to remind you of a profound truth. Our existence is grounded in God's divine plan, unshaken by the temporal concerns of the world. As the Bible says, whatever is done in faith will return to God in abundant blessing. Luke 6:38. Like that great oak tree, our roots are deeply rooted in God's universal truth. Every step we take, every stand we take, is secured by His strength. And now, you are being offered the opportunity to be part of that blessing. When you use the Super Thank You button and donate $100, this movement will return to you 100-fold in abundance. In the simple truths of everyday living, you have demonstrated that there is a richer, more fulfilling way to walk through life, one that embraces freedom, creativity, and the divine spark that lies within each of us. This revelation is like the first blush of sunrise over a quiet, sleeping town, warming and awakening souls that had long been chilled by the cold doctrine of uniformity. The message you carry is clear. Salvation is not a destination reached by following a prescribed set of rules, but a journey discovered through the courageous recognition of our own worth and the power to shape our destiny. Every day, as you choose to live boldly and authentically, you rewrite the script that has held so many captive for so long. The old system, built on the idea that rigid structures and compulsory submission are the keys to a safe life, crumbles under the weight of your undeniable truth. Instead of a life dictated by fear, you have embraced the warmth of self-determination, a light so bright it dispels the shadows of control and opens our eyes to the possibility of living free. Your example has become a beacon for those who have long lived in the confines of a system that told them to never question, to never dream beyond the narrow margins set for them. Now many are beginning to see that the path to a richer, more meaningful life is paved not with the stones of coercion, but with the gentle yet persistent drive to discover one's own strength. Your courage has stirred in others a desire to step into the light, a light that promises hope, renewal, and the freedom to be truly oneself. As we gather around the warmth of this newfound understanding, we are reminded that the promise of a better future is not found in the dictates of a rigid order, but in the liberation of the human spirit. Your life, lived with such vibrant authenticity, challenges the old order and invites us all to reimagine what is possible. It is a living sermon that encourages us to cast off the old chains and to step boldly into a future where each of us is free to rise, free to dream, and free to claim the abundant blessings that await. In this moment of awakening, we see that true power lies not in the fear of stepping away from the known, but in the courage to embrace the unknown with faith and determination. Your journey is a testament to the fact that each of us holds within a reservoir of untapped strength, a divine gift that can transform our lives and the world around us. And so, let us celebrate this shift, this movement towards self-realization, as we walk hand in hand into the bright promise of a new day. Now, even as the puppet master scrambles to manufacture distractions and conjure crises that might restore their crumbling influence, it is clear that these efforts are but desperate attempts to hold on to an empire built on sand. They will try to paint you as erratic, to claim that your newfound freedom is a dangerous aberration, rather than the natural culmination of a long overdue awakening. They might even attempt to fabricate stories of your downfall, to create a narrative that suggests that returning to the fold is the only way to avoid disaster. But the truth is undeniable. You have already stepped beyond the reach of their control, and nothing they say or do can reclaim the essence of who you are. In the eyes of those who have tasted the sweetness of liberation, your journey stands as a monument to what is possible when one chooses to embrace the life intended by divine design. The shift that is occurring is not merely the result of individual acts of courage, it is the collective stirring of a spiritual community that recognizes that the old ways are no longer viable. Every story shared, every experience recounted, contributes to a growing tapestry of freedom and possibility. And in that tapestry, each thread is as important as the next, woven together by a common desire to live a life unburdened by the fear of repression. As the puppet master's grip weakens further, with every heart that finds the strength to break free, it becomes ever more evident that their system was doomed from the start. It was a brittle construction held together by the transient forces of fear and manipulation. And now, in the light of truth and the warmth of a shared vision for a better future, that system is collapsing. Your existence, a beacon of authentic living, has shown that the bonds of control are no match for the power of free will and divine inspiration. It is a transformation that has begun quietly, almost imperceptibly, and yet its impact is profound and far-reaching. Your influence has become a silent prayer, answered in the hearts of those who once trembled under the weight of unyielding authority. Without ever intending to, you have become a guide for those who now seek to reclaim their own lives. And while the puppet master may desperately try to spin tales of caution and regret, the overwhelming truth is that the freedom you embody is a testament to the limitless potential that lies within each of us. It is a reminder that we are not meant to be confined by the dictates of a flawed system, but are destined to rise, to shine, and to live as the chosen ones of our own destiny. So let it be known, the time has come to celebrate the undeniable strength that resides within every soul. The shift in power is not a momentary rebellion, but but a long-awaited awakening. It is a call to all who have ever felt the stirrings of a greater purpose to step forward with confidence and conviction. In your quiet defiance, you have lit a fire that will not be extinguished, a flame that warms the hearts of those who dare to dream of a life filled with hope, joy, and the promise of everlasting freedom. Now is the time to share God's blessings by clicking the Super Thank You button on YouTube. You can contribute to His plan and be a part of this divine mission with a donation of $100 or more. Every gift reflects God's generosity, and I believe it will return to you exponentially far beyond your expectations. Remember, His protection and blessing is on your every step and every donation. You become part of His divine plan. You are a strong, radiant being, unshakable as His mighty rock. Witness God's miracles, feel the fruits of your generosity in your soul, and illuminate the world with confidence and courage. Be blessed, and let the light of the Lord guide your path. The puppet master's panic is not the roar of a mighty force, but the final gasp of a failing regime, a desperate attempt to cling to a power that was never built on truth. And while they may try to weave distractions and create crises, nothing can dim the light that now shines within you and those who have chosen to follow the path of self-discovery and liberation. Every step you take is a testimony to the profound truth that leadership is not about command or control, but about the quiet, steady influence of one who lives in accordance with divine wisdom. As we move forward together on this journey of awakening, let us remember that our strength lies in our unity, our shared vision for a future unburdened by fear and oppression. Each moment of defiance, each act of self-determination adds to a chorus of voices that can no longer be silenced. The time for hesitation has passed. The era of transformation is upon us. With every day that dawns, the old order recedes further into the background, replaced by a new era defined by compassion, empowerment, and the unyielding belief that every individual is destined for greatness. May you continue to walk this path with courage and grace, knowing that in every heartbeat there is a divine rhythm that calls you to be more than you ever imagined. Your journey is a blessing, a living testament to the power of faith and the boundless promise of a life lived freely. And though the puppet master may shudder at the sight of your radiance, it is this same radiance that is lighting the way for a future where every soul can rise, unshackled and triumphant, in the glorious light of eternal truth. Desperate, they will attempt to divert attention, to distract from their crumbling authority. A manufactured crisis, perhaps, a sudden scandal to regain their power, to remind others why they were feared in the first place. Then come the lies, the subtle manipulations to discredit you, to twist your story and present you as unstable, dangerous, or misguided. They will insist that you've changed, that you've lost your way, that your freedom was a mistake. They will tell people that you've gone astray, not because it's true, but because they need it to be true. Their goal is to stop others from following your lead. But it won't work, because once truth has been revealed, it cannot be unseen. The lies might hold a few, but they will not stop the inevitable. No matter how many distractions they create or how many stories they weave, they cannot undo what is real. Their reign is nearing its end, and deep down, they know it. Their regret isn't that they lost you. Their regret is that they lost control over you. You were never a person to them. You were just a part of their machine. But when you walked away, you didn't just remove yourself, you shattered the illusion of their power. That is what they can't face, and that is what keeps them up at night. What they need now is for you to return, not because they care, but because they need to prove their system still works. They need to demonstrate that no one truly escapes. If they can force you back, even for a moment, they can restore the illusion. They'll claim, "See, no one ever really leaves." And if you come back, it means they were right all along. But if you don't return, if you continue to live in your freedom, it's proof that everything they've built is a lie. That's why they can't move on. That's why they remain fixated on you. It's not about you. It's about their survival. Their power only exists as long as others believe in it, and your freedom proves that it was never real.